It was a crisp Monday morning when Ethan Carter, a seasoned marketing analyst, stepped into the bustling office of Thompson and Company, his usual air of quiet confidence wrapped around him like a well-tailored suit. At 35, Ethan was respected for his unshakable composure and sharp intellect, the kind of person who seemed to thrive under pressure. His colleagues admired his steady demeanor, though they often wondered about the man behind the professional facade. This morning, however, Ethan wasn't his usual composed self. The weekend had drained him, and the coffee he clutched in his hand seemed more symbolic than energizing. As he navigated the rows of gray cubicles, his mind wandered to the week ahead, a whirlwind of meetings, deadlines, and the unspoken weight of something missing in his life. Though his career had reached impressive heights, there was a lingering emptiness, a silent question that gnawed at the edges of his thoughts. Was this all there was? Ethan barely had time to settle into his desk when his friend Logan Blake, an exuberant sales executive known for his charm and restless energy, bounded over. With his tousled hair and mischievous grin, Logan had a knack for pulling Ethan into equally entertaining and unpredictable situations. "Ethan, I need a huge favor," Logan began, his voice tinged with urgency and excitement. Before Ethan could respond, Logan launched into a story about a long-awaited date with a woman from finance, a rare opportunity he didn't want to mess up. The catch? She was bringing a friend, and Logan needed Ethan to join as his wingman. At first, Ethan dismissed the idea. The thought of spending his evening making small talk with a stranger felt like an unwelcome intrusion into his meticulously planned routine. But Logan's earnestness was hard to resist, and when he described the elegance of Michelle's friend, Ethan's curiosity was piqued. Reluctantly agreed, unaware that this seemingly mundane decision would unravel a series of events that would forever change how he saw the world and himself. The faintest hint of intrigue flickered in Ethan's mind as Logan handed him the details of the evening. Who was this mystery woman? And why did a simple favor feel like the start of something far more significant? Ethan leaned back in his chair, the details of Logan's request swirling in his mind. Logan had mentioned Michelle's friend briefly, just enough to plant a seed of curiosity. Ethan knew Michelle in passing. She epitomized sophistication, with an aura that turned heads wherever she went. Ethan reasoned that if her friend was anything like her, the evening could be pleasant enough. "Her name is Sophia Adams," Logan added casually as he adjusted his tie. "She's from the tax department, quiet type, but I hear she's nice." Something in Logan's tone made Ethan pause. He had seen Sophia before in the hallways. She often walked with her head down, her long brown hair partially obscuring her face. There was a subtle limp in her step, something Ethan had noticed but never dwelled on. She wasn't the type to draw attention, which made her an anomaly in the otherwise high-energy environment of Thompson and Company. "Quiet, huh?" Ethan said, raising an eyebrow. He could already hear the whispers of doubt in his mind. "This might be more awkward than I thought." "Look," Logan said, sensing Ethan's hesitation. "I need this, man." Michelle finally said yes, and I can't mess it up. "Just be your usual charming self, keep Sophia company, and we'll call it a night." Ethan sighed, the weight of friendship tipping the scales. "All right, Logan, I'll do it, but you owe me." "Deal," Logan grinned, patting Ethan on the shoulder. "Trust me, it'll be fun." Ethan returned to work, but his thoughts drifted to the evening ahead. He wondered about Sophia, the woman who had managed to stay almost invisible in a company full of prominent personalities. Something was intriguing about her anonymity, a quiet strength that seemed to defy the harsh judgments of the office grapevine. By the time the workday ended, Ethan was equally curious and apprehensive. He grabbed his coat, adjusted his tie, and headed to the address Logan had provided, a cozy bar restaurant nestled in the city's heart. The restaurant was buzzing with activity when Ethan arrived. Warm lights hung from the ceiling, casting a golden glow over the rustic wooden tables. The hum of laughter and clinking glasses filled the air, creating a lively yet intimate atmosphere. Logan was already waiting near the entrance, fidgeting nervously with his shirt collar. "You clean up well," Ethan teased, noticing Logan's unusually polished appearance. Yeah, Logan replied, running a hand through his meticulously combed hair. Michelle's worth the effort. Ethan chuckled and followed Logan's gaze as a taxi approached the curb. Michelle stepped out first, her green dress flowing elegantly as she walked. She greeted Logan with a radiant smile and a quick kiss, causing him to blush like a schoolboy. But it was the second passenger that caught Ethan's attention. Sophia emerged from the car, and for a moment, Ethan was speechless. This was not the quiet, reserved woman he had seen at the office. Her hair, usually loose and partially hiding her face, was styled in an elegant bun that framed her features beautifully. She wore a simple navy blue dress that accentuated her slender frame, and her eyes, deep, rich, and filled with a quiet determination, shone like polished amber. As she approached, Ethan noticed a faint silver scar running from her temple to her cheek. It was subtle but unmistakable, a mark that told a story of resilience and strength. Far from detracting from her appearance, it added an air of mystery, a testament to a life lived with courage. "Hi, Ethan," Sophia said softly, her voice carrying a warmth he hadn't expected. "Thank you for coming." "The pleasure is mine, Sophia," Ethan replied, surprised by the sincerity in his voice. Logan and Michelle led the way inside, their laughter and easy conversation filling the space between them. Ethan and Sophia followed, a quiet yet comfortable silence lingering between them. As they walked, Ethan couldn't help but notice how several staff members greeted Sophia warmly, their faces lighting up at the sight of her. She responded with genuine smiles, even stopping briefly to exchange a few words with some of them. "You're popular here," Ethan remarked, unable to hide his curiosity. Sophia laughed softly, a melodic sound that caught him off guard. "This place feels like home. I come here often to unwind. The staff here, they're like family." Ethan nodded, intrigued by the layers of her life he had never imagined. As they settled into their table, the evening began to unfold in unexpected ways. Sophia wasn't just polite. She was intelligent, witty, and full of stories that painted vivid pictures of her life. She spoke about her passion for sports, street running, and even her daring skydiving adventures. "Wait, you've been skydiving?" Ethan asked incredulously, his eyebrows raised. "3 times, Sophia replied with a grin. "It's an incredible feeling, like you're truly alive, free from everything holding you down." As she spoke, Ethan found himself captivated not just by her words, but by the light in her eyes. The way she described each experience with a mix of passion and humility. She wasn't the person he had assumed she was, and that realization intrigued and unsettled him. For the first time in a long while, Ethan felt a genuine connection with someone that went beyond appearances or professional facades. The evening was just beginning, but Ethan already knew one thing. This was no ordinary favor for a friend. It was the start of something far more profound, a journey into uncharted territory that he hadn't even realized he was searching for. As the evening unfolded, Ethan drew deeper into conversation with Sophia. What had begun as a casual favor now felt like an unraveling of a story he hadn't expected to hear. Sophia shared anecdotes from her life, each revealing a blend of strength, humor, and resilience that Ethan couldn't help but admire. "So why skydiving?" Ethan asked, leaning forward with genuine curiosity. "It doesn't exactly fit the quiet image people at work have of you." Sophia's eyes sparkled as she responded, "That's exactly why I do it. People assume I'm timid because I don't fit their mold. Skydiving is my way of breaking free from those expectations, of proving, at least to myself, that I can do anything." Ethan nodded, but his thoughts lingered on her words. The quiet confidence with which she spoke contrasted sharply with the whispers he had heard about her at the office, rumors fueled by her limp and scar, by her reserved nature. Those judgments now felt shallow, almost cruel. Here was a woman who had faced challenges head-on, turning them into strengths. "You're full of surprises, Sophia," Ethan said, his tone sincere. She smiled, a mixture of gratitude and humility softening her features. "Life has a way of teaching you to adapt. Early on, I learned that you can either let your circumstances define you or rise above them. Ethan hesitated before asking, "If you don't mind me asking, what happened to your leg?" Sophia's expression faltered momentarily but met his gaze with unwavering honesty. "When I was 10, I was in a car accident while riding my bike. My left leg was so damaged that the doctors had to amputate it below the knee. It was a difficult time." Ethan remained silent, sensing that there was more to the story. Sophia continued, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. "For a long time, I let the accident define me. I hid behind my hair, behind long skirts and quiet corners. But my parents wouldn't let me stay in that shell. They encouraged me to try everything, to fail, to fall, but always to get back up." Her smile returned, small but resolute. "Eventually, I realized they were right. I've run 5 marathons with my prosthetic leg. I'm training for my 6th now." Ethan was stunned. 5 marathons? That's incredible. Sophia shrugged modestly. "It's not about the medals. It's about proving to myself that I can." For the first time that evening, Ethan felt a pang of guilt. He had unknowingly contributed to the office culture that dismissed Sophia by not standing up against the whispers or taking the time to see beyond appearances. "You're incredible," he said, his voice laced with admiration. "I'm sorry if I ever judged you or didn't do more to stop others from doing so." Sophia looked at him, surprised but appreciative. "Thank you, Ethan. And for what it's worth, I had my assumptions about you. I thought you were just another superficial guy, all about work and no substance. I was wrong." They both laughed softly, the ice between them broken completely. By the time the meal was served, Ethan and Sophia were deep in conversation, the rest of the world fading into the background. He learned that she had traveled to over 15 countries, each trip a testament to her adventurous spirit. From hiking the Andes to scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef, her stories were filled with vivid details that painted a picture of a life lived boldly despite its challenges. Ethan couldn't help but compare her courage to his own life. While he had achieved professional success, his world felt small, confined to predictable routines and safe choices. On the other hand, Sophia embraced the unknown, turning every obstacle into an opportunity. As the night progressed, Ethan noticed how Sophia interacted with those around her. Staff members at the restaurant greeted her warmly, not out of obligation but genuine affection. A waiter even stopped by their table to chat briefly, sharing a light-hearted joke that made Sophia laugh, a sound Ethan realized he wanted to hear more often. "You have a way with people," Ethan observed, smiling. "It's like you bring out the best in everyone." Sophia tilted her head, considering his words. "I think it's because I understand what it feels like to be overlooked. Sometimes all people need is a little kindness, a smile, a conversation. It's amazing how those small gestures can make a difference." Her words stayed with Ethan, resonating deeply. In his corporate world, kindness was often seen as a weakness, yet Sophia used it as her strength here. It made him question his approach to life and the priorities he had held for so long. As the evening drew to a close, Logan and Michelle stopped by their table, their faces flushed with the glow of a successful date. "We're heading out," Logan said, grinning. "What about you two?" Ethan glanced at Sophia, the unspoken question hanging in the air. She met his gaze, her smile soft and inviting. "I think we'll stay a little longer," she said. Logan raised an eyebrow but didn't comment, merely nodding before leaving with Michelle. For the first time in a long while, Ethan felt no urge to rush. He wanted to stay, listen, and understand the woman across from him. As the conversation deepened, Sophia opened up about the moments of doubt and fear she still faced, about the strength it took to walk into a room where she knew she'd be judged. Ethan listened intently, his admiration for her growing with every word. "You're remarkable," he said finally, "not just because of what you've been through, but because of who you've chosen to become." Sophia looked at him, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Thank you, Ethan. You have no idea how much that means." Under the soft glow of the restaurant lights, they shared a moment of quiet understanding, the beginnings of something neither could yet name, but both felt deeply. For Ethan, it was more than an evening out. It was the start of a transformation, a shift in how he saw the world and himself. The following day at work, Ethan arrived at the office feeling different. His encounter with Sophia had planted a seed of reflection that continued to grow, challenging how he viewed his colleagues and himself. As he walked through the corridors, he caught sight of Sophia in the break room. For the first time, instead of simply nodding in polite acknowledgement, he greeted her warmly. "Good morning, Sophia," he said, his voice carrying an air of sincerity. Sophia looked up, surprised but pleased. "Good morning, Ethan," she replied, a small smile on her lips. The interaction didn't go unnoticed. A few co-workers exchanged curious glances, their surprise evident. Ethan didn't care. He decided to do something about how Sophia was perceived in the office. During a team coffee break, he casually brought up her name. "Did you know Sophia has run 5 marathons?" he asked, his tone laced with admiration. The group looked at him, startled. "Sophia? From the tax department?" one of them asked. "Yeah," Ethan said, smiling. "She's incredible. She's also traveled to over 15 countries and has some amazing stories to share. You should talk to her sometime, you'd be surprised." The reaction was immediate. The initial shock gave way to intrigue, and whispers of admiration soon replaced the usual office gossip. Day by day, Ethan continued to highlight Sophia's strengths and accomplishments. Slowly but surely, the perception of her shifted. Sophia noticed the change, too. The once judgmental glances she had grown accustomed to were now replaced with smiles and acknowledgement. For the first time, her voice was heard during team meetings, and her ideas were met with genuine interest. Ethan observed the transformation with quiet satisfaction. What had started as a simple act of kindness was blossoming into something much larger. A shift in the workplace culture, a reminder that everyone had a story worth hearing. A few weeks later, Ethan invited Sophia to meet his parents. The decision felt natural, almost inevitable, as their friendship deepened and the boundaries between their professional and personal lives blurred. Ethan's parents lived in a charming suburban house surrounded by a meticulously tended garden. As they stepped inside, Sophia was greeted by the warm aroma of a roast cooking in the oven. "Mom, Dad, this is Sophia," Ethan said, his voice filled with pride. Ethan's mother, a petite woman with kind eyes, hugged Sophia. "So, you're the famous Sophia Ethan's been talking about," she said, her tone playful. Sophia laughed, though she felt her cheeks flush. "It's lovely to meet you, Mrs. Carter. And please call me Helen," Ethan's mother insisted. As they moved into the living room, Sophia noticed Ethan's father, a tall man with salt and pepper hair, standing by the fireplace. He extended his hand with a warm smile. "Welcome, Sophia," he said. As they sat down, Sophia couldn't help but notice something. Ethan's father had a prosthetic leg. Her gaze lingered for a moment and he saw. "Diabetes," he explained gently. "I lost my leg 5 years ago. It was a tough adjustment, but it's not as bad as chasing my grandkids around the backyard," he added with a chuckle. Sophia smiled, touched by his openness. "It's inspiring to see how you've embraced it," she said sincerely. He nodded. "Life has a way of throwing challenges at us, but it's up to us how we respond. From what Ethan's told me, you understand that better than most." Sophia glanced at Ethan, surprised and touched by his words. The afternoon unfolded in a whirlwind of laughter, stories, and heartfelt moments. Over dinner, Sophia shared tales of her travels, marathons, and even the accident that had changed her life. Ethan's parents listened intently, their admiration mirroring Ethan's. By the time they left, Sophia felt an unexpected sense of belonging. As Ethan walked her to her door that night, she turned to him with a smile. "Your parents are wonderful," she said. "They think the same about you," Ethan replied, his voice soft. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment, the night air cool against their skin. Then, with a deep breath, Ethan spoke. "Sophia, I don't know where this is heading, but I do know one thing. Meeting you has changed me. You've made me see the world differently, and I don't want to lose that." Sophia's heart raced, but her smile remained steady. "You've changed me too, Ethan, and I don't want this to end either." Under the glow of the porch light, their connection deepened in a way that words couldn't capture. It wasn't just a beginning. It was a promise of something extraordinary. The next day at the office, Ethan noticed something remarkable. The changes in Sophia's demeanor were no longer subtle. She walked through the corridors with confidence that turned heads, not because of her appearance, but because of her undeniable energy. She no longer avoided eye contact or hurried past groups of colleagues. Instead, she greeted them warmly, engaging in conversations that left her smiling and them intrigued. Ethan watched from a distance, his admiration for her growing. It wasn't just about how she carried herself, but about how she inspired those around her. The whispers of doubt and judgment had been replaced by curiosity and respect. People were beginning to see the Sophia he had come to know, the intelligent, witty, and courageous woman who had faced life's challenges with unshakable determination. During a lunch break, Ethan joined a group of colleagues chatting animatedly. To his surprise, the topic of conversation was Sophia. "Did you know she's run 5 marathons?" one coworker said, her tone tinged with awe. "I heard she's been skydiving multiple times," another added. Ethan smiled to himself. The ripple effect of his small efforts to share Sophia's story had grown into something far more significant. It wasn't just about changing perceptions. It was about creating an environment where everyone could feel valued for who they were. Sophia's transformation wasn't just personal but reshaping the workplace culture. Her confidence inspired others to be more empathetic and willing to see beyond first impressions. As for Ethan, he found himself admiring Sophia and learning from her. She had shown him kindness, resilience, and authenticity, which were far more potent than any professional achievement. A few weeks later, Ethan invited Sophia to join him on a weekend getaway. He had planned a visit to a small seaside town, where he often escaped when he needed clarity. For Ethan, the trip was more than a chance to unwind. It was an opportunity to deepen his connection with Sophia away from work and daily life distractions. They arrived late afternoon, the sun casting golden hues over the horizon. The town was charming, with cobblestone streets, quaint shops, and a boardwalk that stretched out over the sparkling ocean. Sophia was instantly captivated, her eyes lighting up as she took in the scenery. "This place is beautiful," she said, her voice filled with genuine awe. Ethan smiled. "I thought you'd like it. It's quiet, but there's a lot to explore." Over the next 2 days, they wandered through the town's narrow streets, sharing ice cream cones and laughing like teenagers. They visited a small art gallery where Sophia marveled at local artists' work, her appreciation for creativity shining through. But their connection deepened further during a sunset walk along the beach. The waves lapped gently at their feet, the sky painted in shades of pink and orange. Ethan reached for Sophia's hand, his fingers intertwining with hers. "Sophia," he began, his voice soft. "These past few weeks have been transformative. I thought I knew who I was and what I wanted, but meeting you has changed everything. You've made me see the world, and myself, differently." Sophia stopped walking, turning to face him. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, but her smile was steady. "Ethan, you've shown me something I never thought I'd find. A place where I feel safe, valued, and understood. You've helped me rediscover parts of myself I thought I'd lost." They stood in silence for a moment, the sound of the waves their only accompaniment. Then, under the sun's fading light, Ethan leaned in and kissed her. It was a kiss filled with promises, not just of love but of a partnership built on mutual respect and understanding. That weekend marked a turning point in their relationship. It was no longer about what had brought them together, a favor for a friend, an unexpected evening out. It was about the life they were beginning to build, one rooted in shared values and a deep appreciation for each other's journeys. As they drove back to the city, the quiet moments between them felt just as meaningful as their conversations. They didn't need to fill the silence. Their connection spoke louder than words. For Ethan, the weekend wasn't just a getaway. It was a glimpse into the future he wanted, a life where he and Sophia could face anything together. Little did they know the challenges ahead would test their bond in ways they couldn't imagine. But as they held hands on the drive home, there was an unspoken certainty. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Ethan and Sophia's connection deepened as the weeks turned into months. Their bond began to shape their personal lives and the workplace, where subtle yet significant changes were evident. Now a vocal advocate for inclusivity, Ethan started mentoring younger employees, encouraging them to embrace challenges rather than avoid them. Inspired by Sophia's story, he implemented initiatives within the company to foster a supportive culture, including workshops on empathy and resilience. Sophia, in turn, found herself stepping into a more prominent role. Her newfound confidence allowed her to spearhead a project in the tax department, streamlining processes that had been stagnant for years. Her insights and meticulous attention to detail impressed her immediate team and the company's upper management. For the first time, Sophia felt genuinely valued for her contributions. Outside the office, Ethan and Sophia spent their evenings exploring shared passions. They volunteered together at a local nonprofit, helping amputees adjust to prosthetics, drawing on Sophia's experience to inspire others. Ethan marveled at how effortlessly she connected with people, her authenticity breaking down barriers that many struggled to overcome. One evening, after a particularly impactful session at the nonprofit, Ethan turned to Sophia as they walked to his car. "You're amazing, you know that?" he said, his voice filled with admiration. Sophia blushed but smiled. "I'm just doing what feels right. If my story can help someone else, it's worth sharing." Ethan stopped and faced her. "It's more than that. You've not only changed how I see the world, you've changed how others see themselves. That's something extraordinary." Sophia's eyes softened. "And you've given me the space to be that person, Ethan. You believed in me when I didn't fully believe in myself." Their journey together had become more than just a story of love, a partnership built on mutual growth and a shared vision for making a difference. Months later, the company hosted its annual gala, which showcased its brightest talents and most significant achievements. This year, Ethan had an idea. He proposed nominating Sophia for the Employee Spotlight Award, a recognition given to individuals who had demonstrated exceptional contributions. Sophia hesitated when she learned of the nomination. "Are you sure about this?" she asked Ethan, her voice tinged with uncertainty. "Absolutely," Ethan replied. "You've earned it, Sophia. It's time for everyone to see the incredible person I've had the privilege to know." The evening of the gala arrived, and Sophia entered the grand ballroom in a midnight blue gown that shimmered under the chandelier lights. Ethan was by her side, and his pride was evident in how he looked at her. As they mingled with colleagues, Sophia received compliments and warm smiles, making her heart swell. When the time came for the awards, Sophia's name was announced, and the room erupted in applause. As she walked to the stage, Ethan could see the transformation in her posture. The quiet, reserved woman he had first met was now someone who exuded grace and confidence. Taking the microphone, Sophia spoke with poise. "This recognition isn't just about me," she began. "It's about the people who saw my potential when I didn't see it in myself. It's about creating spaces where everyone feels valued, regardless of background or challenges. I'm grateful to work in a place learning to do just that." Her words resonated deeply, and as she stepped off the stage, Ethan met her with a warm hug. "You were perfect," he whispered. Later that evening, as they stood on the balcony overlooking the city lights, Sophia turned to Ethan. "Thank you for believing in me," she said softly. Ethan smiled, taking her hands in his. "Thank you for showing me what truly matters. Together, I think we can do more than just make an impact, build something lasting." Sophia nodded, her heart full. They had come so far, not just as individuals but as partners who had helped each other grow in ways neither could have imagined. The gala became a defining moment for them, a celebration not just of professional success but of their journey together, one filled with courage, love, and the unwavering belief in the power of transformation. As the night stretched on, the city lights twinkling in the distance, Ethan and Sophia stood side by side, ready to embrace whatever the future held. They were no longer just individuals navigating life. They were a team united by a shared purpose and a love that had grown from the most unexpected beginnings. The weeks following the gala were a whirlwind of new beginnings for Ethan and Sophia. Their relationship, which had grown from mutual respect and understanding, became even more profound. They had become each other's anchor, not just in their personal lives but in their shared goals of making the world better. Inspired by Sophia's journey, Ethan proposed a bold idea during a quiet dinner at her apartment one evening. "Sophia, what if we started something together? Something that combines our strengths and gives back to the community?" Sophia raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What do you mean?" Ethan leaned forward, his excitement palpable. "A foundation, a non-profit organization that supports people with physical challenges, helping them overcome societal barriers and achieve their dreams. We could focus on mentorship programs, adaptive sports, career development, anything that empowers people to thrive just like you have." Sophia's eyes widened, her mind already racing with possibilities. "That's incredible, Ethan. I've always wanted to do more but never imagined something like this. Are you sure we're ready for it?" Ethan reached for her hand, his voice steady. "Together, we're ready for anything." The idea sparked a new chapter in their lives. They spent weeks brainstorming, planning, and meeting with experts in various fields. With her first-hand experience and genuine empathy, Sophia became the heart of the initiative, while Ethan's business acumen and connections laid the foundation for its success. They named the organization Limitless Horizons, reflecting their belief that no obstacle should define a person's potential. Their bond deepened as they worked tirelessly to bring their vision to life. Late nights were spent drafting proposals, and weekends were filled with outreach events. They supported each other through moments of doubt, constantly reminding themselves why they had started. 6 months later, the day of the grand opening arrived. The event was held in a bright, modern facility that would serve as the headquarters for Limitless Horizons. The space was designed with accessibility in mind, featuring wide corridors, adaptive equipment, and an atmosphere of warmth and inclusivity. Friends, family, colleagues, and community gathered to celebrate the milestone. Ethan and Sophia stood side by side on the stage, looking out at the crowd supporting them. Sophia stepped up to the microphone, her voice steady and filled with emotion. "Today isn't just about opening a building. It's about opening doors. Doors for people who have been told their limitations define them. Doors for people who face judgment, isolation, or doubt. We're here to remind everyone that they are so much more than the challenges they face." The crowd erupted into applause, and Ethan took her hand as she stepped back. "And this," he added, "is just the beginning. Together, we're not only building a future for others, we're building one for ourselves, rooted in hope, resilience, and the belief that anything is possible when we stand together." That evening, after the crowd had dispersed and the facility was quiet, Ethan and Sophia stood in the main hall, reflecting on the day's success. The soft glow of the lights illuminated the room, creating an atmosphere of peace and fulfillment. Sophia turned to Ethan, her eyes shining with gratitude. "I never thought I'd be standing here, doing something like this, and I never thought I'd meet someone like you." Ethan smiled, pulling her close. "You've shown me what it means to live truly, Sophia. To see beyond what's comfortable, to push for something greater. I'm the lucky one." Under the quiet hum of their dreams taking flight, Ethan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. Sophia's breath caught as he opened it, revealing a delicate ring that sparkled like the stars above. "Sophia," he said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "This journey has been the most incredible experience of my life. I don't want to face any challenge, celebrate any success, or live a single day without you by my side. Will you marry me?" Tears welled in Sophia's eyes as she nodded, her voice breaking with emotion. "Yes, Ethan. 1,000 times, yes." As he slid the ring onto her finger, their future felt as limitless as the horizons they had envisioned together. What had started as a favor for a friend had become a love story, a partnership, and a legacy that would touch countless lives. The night ended with the promise of a lifetime, a love built on resilience, and a shared commitment to making the world a better place.